Hey, what's up, everybody? Want to talk about something that I find slightly irritating, but at the same time, it's pretty amusing because it's already starting to backfire. So the media is putting out that Trump's rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was a failure because he couldn't even fill up a 19,000 seater. Okay, what they're forgetting to mention is the fact that a lot of people didn't go is because the media has been pushing this narrative that you're gonna, if you go out in large gatherings, you're gonna catch COVID-19 and you're probably gonna die, even though everybody knows at this point that that's not actually how it works. Especially for younger people who are in good health, we're probably gonna be just fine. It's not much worse than the flu, if that, for most people right now, unless you're elderly or have pre-existing health conditions, which at that point, you should probably stay home. But a lot of people have taken them serious, and just to be on the safe side, to make sure they didn't endanger loved ones, they stayed home. I've talked to a lot of people who are huge Trump supporters here in Oklahoma, and I asked them, I was like, did you go? And they're like, no, we didn't go. And I was like, well, why not? They're like, well, we have elderly parents, we have grandparents, we have young children. We don't want to, put them at risk. And so they didn't go. Another reason why people here in Oklahoma didn't go is because we saw this during the BLM protests for George Floyd here in Oklahoma City. We had a lot of out-of-staters who came here and started riots. Now that's really uncommon in Oklahoma. I mean, there's not anything to do here, so there's not usually a big pull for people from out of state to come to Oklahoma. All right, unless you like looking at a lot of pasture land and cattle and wheat and corn, you tend to stay away from this place. So we, most Oklahomans, me included, were like, no, there's going to be out-of-staters who are going to come in, just like all these other big rallies that are held by conservative people. And these protesters are going to raise hell, and they're going to try and start stuff with people who are there for the rally. And it could be a dangerous situation. So a lot of us are like, we're not going to put ourselves in that situation. We're not going to put our family in that situation. We're going to stay home. Now, I have managed to talk to some people I know, and I've watched a lot of videos from people I trust and respect who did go to the Trump rally. And they said that it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you had people start lining up at 7 a.m. in the morning, for something that was happening 12 hours later. So, that alone tells me there's still some hardcore Trump supporters here in Oklahoma. And what really made me proud is the crowd. It actually didn't match our demographics here in Oklahoma. We have a pretty large white population, and we have decent sized Native American, African American, and Hispanic population. And there's a handful of Asian families in most of your small towns, and there's quite a few here in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. So we have a pretty mixed diversity here, and the demographics at the Trump rally did not match our demographics here in Oklahoma. It was not primarily white people there. It was a pretty good mix. About 50% white, and the other 50% were either Hispanic, African American, Native American, or Asian. And I mean, that's something to be proud of in my book, because that shows that even the minorities here in Oklahoma, which the media pushes out, minorities all hate Trump. It's not the case. At least not here in Oklahoma. Not from what I've seen. Yeah, you do have minority people who hate Trump here in Oklahoma, but we have a large percentage of them who actually support the man, because what he's done has helped out Oklahoma a lot, especially considering our governor hasn't really helped us out a whole lot with his policies that he's put in place with the oil field and energy services here in Oklahoma. So there's two reasons why the media is kind of starting to be called out, especially here in Oklahoma. We're like, no, we trusted y'all on COVID-19. We trusted y'all's reporting on the violent riots that happen at conservative rallies, and so we decided to stay home. And now you're coming out saying that Trump doesn't have support. No, that's not the answer. That's not the answer at all. There was a huge percentage of Oklahoma who sat at home or went out to the bars even to watch this rally. All right, we might not have been there in person, but trust me, he's got our support. He's got it 100%. Just like last time, Oklahoma's gonna vote red. I promise. There ain't no blue wave happening in Oklahoma. So the media has spun this, and they center the cameras, especially CNN and CNBC and all those guys. They focused their cameras on the upper tier, which was primarily empty, and they were like, oh, look, he doesn't have support, he doesn't have support. That's not the case. It's not the case at all. A lot of people were just trying to be responsible adults, stay home to protect their loved ones who have poor health or who are elderly. So now that the media's trying to spin this, everybody I know in Oklahoma is coming out and they're like, no, hell no. That's not the case. He's got our support. He's got our support. We didn't make it for one reason or another, primarily because of this narrative you've pushed about this stupid disease that is less deadly than some of the other pandemics we've seen over the past 20 years. So that's really what it comes down to. People are pissed off. The media is taking this and they're spinning it. They literally are generating their own news at this point. That's all they're doing. And they're not just doing it with Trump rallies. They're doing it with all sorts of things. All right. They're trying to spin it on this Mr. Brooks, right, out in Atlanta. You know, they spun that story. White police officer, guns down, you know, black man. Which, come to find out, the facts don't add up on that at all. If you watch the body cam footage from that, you're like, oh no, those officers had every right to do what they did. He took a taser, he fired at the officers. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, a taser's not a deadly weapon. You know, you're right, it's not a deadly weapon. But what is deadly is the fact that an officer becomes incapacitated and he's got a sidearm with him. It wouldn't have taken very much effort at all on Mr. Brooks' part to come over there, take that sidearm, gun down the police officer that he is immobilized. You know, and he'd already proven he could take on two of them physically. So if the other officer didn't fire on him whenever he fired that taser, things were going to get bad. They were going to get bad fast if both officers were unwilling to pull their sidearm and use them. So, you know, they spun that narrative. The George Floyd one, they didn't have to spin that one. That was a tragedy. Everybody can agree with that. The 4 officers are being charged right now. Hopefully they all go to prison. That's what we're all hoping and praying for, because he deserves justice. Mr. George Floyd deserves justice 100%. They really blew the Ahmaud Arbery case all over the news. It was everywhere you looked. That's all you saw. 2 white rednecks gunning down a black kid. And we're not seeing the others. We're not seeing anything else. We're not seeing police brutality against white people. We don't see a lot of it against Hispanics. You don't see a lot of it against Asians. It's always a white cop on a black guy or a black kid. That's all we see, because that's what the media is doing. They're generating their own news, because they know that if they do that, if they spin that story wide enough, then it's going to cause unrest in the African American population and other minority populations, and it's even going to cause unrest in the Caucasian population, and people are going to be less respectful towards police officers. They're going to be more belligerent. They're more likely to attack a police officer, and that in and of itself immediately starts generating more stories for them, because officers start getting scared. You get these cops who are young or maybe a little trigger happy, or maybe they went through a bad ordeal 2 days before and something goes down and they're a little trigger happy. That's exactly what the media is hoping for. That's what they're praying for. So it's irritating that they're spinning this, but at the same time, it's highly amusing that people are like, oh, hell no. No, that ain't how it went down. You need to shut up, and you need to tell the whole story. You need to put out that people were being responsible adults and staying home. So that's just something that's been on my mind all day long. Wanted to post something about it. If you like the video, share it, like my page, share my page for me. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great one.